What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rock star agent in your market. And we are very fortunate because we have two rock stars here with us today. They are, in fact, the guests. I don't know who the hell we and Greg are, but we've got two people who are much more entertaining and fun and have great senses of humor. So Greg and I are just going to kick back, and I think I've got a Barca Lounger back there I'm going to retreat to, and we're just going to let our guests carry it. So we've got Dale Archdekin with us today. We're talking about handling objections and how to set appointments where people actually show up. We've got Gene Volpe, the evil bald ninja, the Volpinator himself, is here to share a social media or tech tip. And then, of course, as always, my compatriot, my partner in all things and crime, real estate related, and apparently also life and business and video recording, and I don't know. Anyway, Greg McDaniel. Greg, how are you
today? One of these days, Matt, someone from the FBI is going to tune in and listen to this and be like, wait, all things crime related. Well, we got to put a tab on these two fools. So a funny stint here. Dale was on the video call pre-show before I was able to get on, and he dead straight looks at me and goes, "Oh, so I see you're in the running for the best looking man in real estate, and you are a solid runner-up." I'm like, "What the hell?" He's like, "Well, what can I say, man? I've been the winner." And I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be a show. This is gonna be a show, buddy."
So, don't you open with an insult to all your friends and associates? I mean, that's just that's how you do it, right?
Well, as guys, yeah. I mean, if you don't say what's up, douche, or what's up, fucker. And then that means you don't like the other person. You're like, "Oh, hello, Dale. Good to see you, good sir." Right, You're like, exactly. "All right, he must hate me. I don't know what's going on."
Good to see you, good sir. Apparently means screw off.
Yeah, it does. That guy hates me. Oh, it's man etiquette. It's man etiquette. Come on, everyone knows this. But you do that to your girlfriend. "What's up, bitch?" No, that shit ain't gonna fly. You're gonna
unless you live in the hood. That's not happening.
They're gonna cut you when you sleep if you do that.
That's assuming you make it that far, Greg. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know that they would. I was going to say, I don't think that your girl would wait until you fell asleep to cut you. She would just cut you.
She would. Lily would go all fucking cray on me. She'd be like,
she wants you to know who did it.
That's right.
I want you to see this coming. Eye contact.
All right. Dale, let's start with you. We've got a lot of stuff to get into, but for those of us in the viewing audience who may have been under a rock for the last two episodes that you were with us, please remind everyone of why you are a total badass when it comes to training ISAs.
One, I'm more attractive than Greg McDaniel is. Two,
perfect.
I just have a lot of experience, right? I've done it for other people. I've been a phone ninja myself, and grew up. I mean, I've been doing it since I was in high school, and went out, did it for other people, and then started showing other people how the magic works. And over the course of time, I figured out how to talk to people better and get them not to hate me. And so now I get to share that with others. Is that a good summary?
That's awesome.
That may be the quote of the show. I've learned how to talk to people and get them not to hate me. If there's ever a perfect encapsulation of what it's like to be a real estate agent on the phone, I think you just summed it up nicely, Dale.
Good.
Yes. All right. Speaking of people that we don't hate, the evil bald ninja, Gene Volpe. Gene, how are you today?
Matt, some of my favoriteest, handsomest guys on the planet. I'm well. Thank you for having me. As always.
That's right. Now, our viewing audience is very familiar with you, so we won't waste their time with your many accolades. But I did want to point out that you gave a very nice presentation the other day on Facebook Live. So if anybody is not following you, they absolutely should. By the way, where do they go to follow you?
GeneVolpe.com. Yes.
Okay, good. I seen it scroll across my Facebook feed, but they should definitely go to your website just for the jingle. Oh my God, that's funny.
So wait, can I tell you something about that real quick?
Yes.
I want to tell you something about that real quick. I was doing that presentation, and the broker. Did you lose me? I'm here, right?
No, you're here. I'm waiting for the. Yeah, go.
Oh yeah. I was doing the presentation, and the broker Facebook lived it. And the next day, I got a phone call from another broker in an office about 15 miles away saying, "Saw the video. I just fired somebody that was doing our training. I need you to come in every Wednesday for the next 4 weeks and train my people."
Nice.
Video works. Video works. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Video works.
Nice.
I love
very,
that.
very cool. Love that.
Congrats,
All right.
dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you going to also be streaming that live? Are you hiring a videographer to take care of that?
If you pay me.
What? Pay you?
If you pay me. No, we probably will have. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of that probably that goes out live. Sure, and I will have somebody there videoing it as well. Yep.
Good. All right, good. We want to make sure that you're leveraging every opportunity.
Unlike me and
okay,
Matt,
so there was a
speaking opportunities.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yes, we need to walk the walk
Don't
on that.
be
Don't be us. That's right. So let's take a question. There's a couple of questions that caught my eye that we can start out with. Let's start with this one. This is from the lead gen scripts and objections group. It's from Mickey Logis, I believe. It said, chased after a FSBO, got the listing appointment. What are some of your go-to questions? And I want to get two different perspectives on this, right? So Dale, I want to talk to you first about when you're talking to a for sale by owner, let's talk about some of the things that you can do to make sure that when you set that appointment, that it's actually a good appointment. And then Greg, I want you to follow through and we'll talk a little bit about the listing appointment itself and some of the questions that you would ask on a listing appointment. So Dale, what's your perspective on talking to a FSBO and not getting stuck into those appointments where it's really not about anything?
Yeah. So the most important thing is to find out what that FSBO was trying to accomplish by doing it themselves. The answer is not sell their house. It's something else, right? There's some other thing they're trying to achieve ultimately by selling it themselves, by one, selling it, and two, doing it themselves. Find out what those things are that they really want to get to. Make sure that they're actually committed to getting to it, that they really do have the motivation to get there. And it's not just like, oh, well, I'll sell it if I get a crazy high price. That's a lot of times the one that can shoot you in the butt, right? Is if somebody is only motivated if they get an unrealistic number for their house.
Right.
But when you
and the
find
tough
out
thing
what they
about
really
that is that's sometimes a motivation. Sometimes it's they believe that's what's necessary to get into the next home, and sometimes there's just a flat out ego issue, and I think that's one of the real killers.
Yes, definitely. So find out if they really have some good motivating factors that they're trying to achieve, and then you become that for them. Your solution, you become that solution for them to get that.
Right. Okay. Greg, let's turn to you. What say you on the subject of meeting with for sale by owners, especially once you've already set the appointment? Let's say you used a couple of good questions like Dale gave on the actual call. So by the time you show up, you kind of know what their motivation is. You know it's not just a BS appointment that they're hoping that you eventually bring them a buyer or something like that. So, Greg, what are some of the good open-ended questions that you would hand off to a for sale by owner at the appointment?
I'm pretty much on Dale's train here. Figure out what their true motivation is. And then once you go find that motivation, go 3 to 5 deep on that, find their timeline, find their reasoning behind the reason that they've given you. So like you said, Dale, it's not just like I want to sell for a high price. I need the money because I've used my home as an ATM for the last blank amount of years, and I have about this much equity, and I need to pay and get this thing done because my wife is pregnant with triplets, and we have a 2-bedroom. Okay, there is your reasoning. Understand and help them move forward from it. So open-ended questions of where are we going to be moving next? Have you found a place that you like? You're going to be staying in the area, going out of the area? What's your time frame that you're looking to be executing on? Is it sooner than later? Is sooner more important, or is a higher price more important? Question. And with us being with FSBOs, ask about their last experience with a real estate agent, if they've ever had one, positive or negative. Talk about communication styles, see what you can do to leverage, for them, any documentation, disclosures, highlight the contract for them so that they can know what they're going into, so they don't walk into a landmine and blow their own foot off, not knowing what to look for. So like if I was going to go into, surgery, fuck am I going to do? I don't know how to do heart surgery, but sometimes, people want to do stuff like that. They want to take on their own major operations in their life, but they don't have the skill set for it. So be a resource for the FSBOs at every single step, so that once they figure out that this is a full-time job and they don't have time for a full-time job, you will be the only logical, choice to fall back onto. So, very long-winded answer to a very short question, but that's just some of the stuff. And I think Dale's approach was spot on. And I just want to add a few little points to that.
Few points given. I'd like to give you one really good question that I like to use also. So a lot of times, and I use this to when somebody has a concept, right? Greg, you can agree to this, right? So when you talk to somebody, especially like a for sale by owner, they oftentimes have a very common concept, which is that they've taken get the most money and paired it up with do it myself. Right? That's the
100%.
basic concept that they're operating from. So when you run into a concept like that, when you're talking to somebody, I like to ask them a pick a path question. I just break it apart again. And I say, so is it most important to you to net the most money possible or sell it yourself?
Good question. I
Wow,
like that.
that's a great question.
Break it
Yeah,
apart.
because you're breaking it apart. Okay, makes total sense.
So another thing we can use since we're having some ninja verbiage here, instead of coming over and giving them an evaluation, why don't you, Matt, you and I have heard this on the show before, come over and do a needs assessment with them. It takes the salesy out of the whole conversation and figure out what their true needs are. They'll probably let the floodgates down. Then also ask them in the same conversation, so help me understand what your future real estate plans are looking like for you. And then that will help you. You can understand there without saying, so you're looking at buying or selling or staying in the area. What do your future real estate plans look like for you? And I've turned that into a script on my calls, Dale. And it has been magical to watch people completely stop in their tracks going, wait, what the fuck did you just say to me? You don't want me to sell? What are my plans? Well, I'm very glad
when are you selling?
Sir.
Come on.
So,
got to get you out of that house.
Needs assessment. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
needs analysis. Yeah, love it.
Take the candy
Gene,
right out of the kid's mouth.
Yeah.
That's right. We're not taking candy just from the baby now. We're taking it right out of the baby's mouth.
Yeah, right.
All right. Seems a little unsanitary, but sure, why not? Gene, let's go to you. So I know you deal with this, when you have incoming clients come in. So I like the concept of kind of doing that needs analysis for a lot of the same reasons that, we do it on the marketing side as well.
Yeah, needs analysis. You got to go in knowing that part of their needs is marketing. I come from that space, where you're at, and if you can prove to them that them taking 3 months longer to sell their house than it would for you to do it costs them X, that averages out what they're trying to save in commission. I would think, and you guys would know this better than I do, but probably a lot of people that are doing FSBOs are probably trying to save a couple dollars on the commission, when they're probably costing themselves more by holding it longer, right? There's still mortgage payments involved if you hold it 6 months. Whereas when I come in with my marketing plan and can get it in front of 35,000 people like that, you have a better opportunity to sell it quick and unload those mortgage payments. So if you do the numbers ahead of time, marketing plan equals this amount of money saved off, and that more than pays for my commission. I feel like that's something that you could take to them.
Yeah, and I think, Dale, that pairs really nicely with you. Like once taking your approach of kind of breaking apart that objection into two pieces and figuring out what's the most important thing, then if you have, what Gene talked about in terms of the numbers that you can back it up, then you can say, like, how would you phrase that? So if you had that kind of in your hip pocket and you get them to break apart that objection, like, well, it's really not about selling it myself. It's about, getting the highest value for the home. And that you've got some numbers in your pocket. What would you take? What would the next step be for you?
The first thing that I would do is I would find out if numbers and saving money now versus over time was important to them. Ask them find out if that's important to them first before I propose that as the solution or the kicker. Because if it's not important to them, then I'm holding a pair of twos instead of a pair of aces, right?
Yeah, it's a great point, right? So before you present what you think is the solution, you need to get their agreement that you have the problem understood correctly.
Yeah, exactly. So if I instead say, hey, so, from what I'm understanding is you want to make sure that you get the highest value for the home. Is it most important to you that you ultimately spend as little that it costs you as little as possible to actually make this transition and you protect as much equity and asset as you have? Does that make the most sense to you? And you say, yes, it does make the most sense to me. I'd say, great. Okay, well, then if I could show you how over the course of 3 or 4 months, if doing it this way will actually save you a lot more money, would that be what you're interested in? Is that in line with what you want to do? And they're like, yes. Okay, great. Well, this is how that works. Here's that thing I have in my back pocket because now I figured out that you're going to look at it as aces instead of twos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
That's good. I like that a lot. Dale, we have a question coming directly to you from the LGSO page they're watching live. Tommy Price says,
I am married. We'll just rest that one now. I am married, and I'm very happy with her. Yes, I am committed. And yes, I have signed paperwork with her already.
But Dale, have you – so you have not agreed that being married is your problem.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah.
Okay. So here it is. To Dale, when you ask that air quotes, break apart question, and they answer that what is your next question to close them? So the break apart question, they answer, what is your next question to close them?
Okay, so I may not be closing them after that question, right? So if I give them the pick a path question, one of a couple of things is going to happen. One, they're either going to call bullshit and say, I don't believe you, right? I want both. How about that, sneaky guy, right? So that happens sometimes. Sometimes they'll say the one that you don't want them to pick, which is it's most important for me to sell it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll go down the path you want them to go down, which is I want to put the most money in my pocket. Okay.
Right.
But we won't, either way, we probably won't be closing them after that question, because that break apart question, basically all I've done is I've started to shatter the concept that they're operating from. Now, when they said that netting the most money is most important to them, I do need to figure out a few more pieces. Okay. So if netting the most money is most important to you, what experience do you have already? What was important to you about the process of you going about doing it yourself that you thought you were going to net the most money? I want to understand that first, because if you come back and if I try to close you and you're like, well, yeah, I've already sold 5 houses myself, and then I listed one with an agent and they sucked. Mm-hmm. Your answer to my close is going to be no still, because I didn't know that information. I need to get that. I need to get that experience from you first. I need to understand how you were making that decision.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's very true.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, after you.
I was going to say, then when I get to the position where I feel like, okay, I know what you're trying to get to, I see how you were trying to do it, and I understand how you put this together in your head, then I can come back and say, okay, well, if I can get you more money in your pocket or whatever it is, or even more money than you thought you were going to get, and make it easier than you thought it could be, would you consider meeting with me instead? That's where the close starts to come in.
Yeah, I really like that quite a bit. When it comes to listing presentations and everything else with for sale by owners, with anything out there, traditional sellers or whatnot, I think one of the things that a lot of us really don't understand is to ask more questions like we're talking about here. I listened to a speaker 2 days ago at our company's legal update, and he made a very good point, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks. A lot of people are always asking, what's the best listing presentation? How do you close them? How do you really how do you make it rain, and get every listing? And they're like, what's the perfect listing presentation look like? And I had an answer, and then this guy blew my answer out of the water. And I think, Dale, I know you'll agree with me, Matt and Gene will agree as well. When you walk into a listing appointment, have an idea of how you want to have a conversation, but you sit down and say, Dale, I really appreciate your time sitting with you and your wife. Help me understand, what are some of the major things that you would like to cover in this meeting? Ask them what they want to cover in the listing presentation instead of telling them what you're going to do. Ask them what's the most important to them, because not everybody is going to be equal when it comes to what's their priorities. Some people want most value. Some people want the fastest sale. Some people want to talk about communication. Some people want to talk about marketing. We don't know where that is until we ask them. And that could be very powerful in our FSBO as well. Help me understand what we want to cover in this conversation, that brings the most value to you.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Definitely.
Very cool. Well, let's take a step back real quick. We've got a bunch of people watching. So first of all, guys, let us know where you are watching from. Make sure to hit that like and heart button. So show some love. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're watching and where you're at specifically, guys. So thank you, Gene. We know that you're in Philly. We appreciate that.
I just saw that. I'm like, really?
How about that, huh? Not bad.
You're
asking you shall receive.
Smart ass and fast. It's a lethal combination.
Listen, I didn't even mean to be a smart ass. I'm just shouting out.
That's funny.
He's good with his hands.
All right, Gene. And the other thing I wanted to take a step back on was I wanted to turn it to you, Gene, in terms of social media or marketing tech tip before we dive back into the conversation on handling objections and setting really high quality appointments. So, Gene, what have you got for us today?
Yeah, listen, I want to lead into that with the fact that I want to give Dale a plug here real quick, if you wouldn't mind. Mm-hmm. In addition to him being the most handsome man in real estate, or actually, I would say in spite of, at least on the East Coast. Anyway. I would say in spite of. Here's what I want to say. I've actually met his wife in the past, and I know for a fact that he's good at objections because he certainly outkicked his coverage. even though he's handsome. But I can tell you, his objection handling must be spot on because he somehow tricked her. So
That's right.
I think what you're saying is I'm batting way above my my level here.
I agree with everything you
Swinging for the
just said.
fences.
Yes.
Punching
Yes,
way
sir.
above
Really,
my weight class.
what's most important to you? Like having a long, happy marriage or having kids? Like you gotta break that path apart.
Are
Back
looks
then, I just
important or is it money?
That's
Thank
right.
you so much, Gina. I appreciate that. Back then, I just didn't take no for an answer. She can attest to that one. She gave me a lot of no's, and I was like, I can't hear you. It's not registering.
Listen, we have a lot in common. My wife would say the same thing to you about me. So, all right, Hera, I have a real quick one this week. Something I kind of stumbled on a couple of weeks ago that I've been using, and I should have thought about this before, but for some reason it just came up again. It's a website called Zapier or Zapier, ZAPIER.com. And it does a lot. Like it's basically a tool that helps connect a bunch of your applications. So it works with QuickBooks, it works with Slack, it works with Google Docs, Google Gmail, all these things. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we've recently used it to notify us, and Greg, this is for you too, notify us when a lead comes in from Facebook lead ads. So if you're doing Facebook advertising and you know what the lead ads are, you probably know you got to go in and actually reactively look at new leads that have come in, and that tends to lend to a little bit of a sliding scale as far as time goes. So what happens is you got to look at it now, and that lead may have come in 4 hours ago, and you already lost it, right? So this Zapier, what it does is you connect it to your Facebook account, and it notifies you in real time, a couple minutes, 15 minutes for the non-paid version. And within 15 minutes, you get a notification, new lead came in, and you can handle it right away. So it's a nice little tool if you're doing lead ads, and when you're in there, it'll give you some other opportunity to take a look if it works with some of your other apps that you're using. So
Yeah, Xavier. I think it's Zapier from what I've heard. That could be horribly wrong, but yeah, they have all kinds of. I mean, the number of integrations they have is absolutely insane. So if you're a tech savvy agent for sure, and you have different things where you're using a lot of the modern tools, like Zapier came along and basically said, hey, we're going to tie all of this stuff together. And so there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. One of the things that I know people use it for a lot is integrating like one CRM into another, or a lead generation that has a CRM built into it, that they're receiving like incoming pay-per-click leads and stuff like that. They'll hook it up and use Zapier to get those leads into their regular CRM where they actually want them to be, so that they're then distributed out to like themselves or their team members and all kinds of good stuff.
yeah,
I'd like to give you a funny example where we used Zapier before. We were
Really?
running Infusionsoft, and we had like 10 applications of Infusionsoft, meaning 10 different versions of Infusionsoft for each office. So each office had its own Infusionsoft version. So we go to Infusionsoft, and we're like, hey, we want to tie these all together because we have one centrally located ISA department. We got 10 offices that it feeds. And they're like, great, we can do that. There's this thing called Zapier. You need to have our one application of Infusionsoft push a contact over to the other application of Infusionsoft through Zapier. And I was like, hold on a second. Didn't you guys build these Infusionsoft applications? You can't make your own bridge between the two things that you're running for us and those 10. You want me to go out to Zapier and use that instead? They're like, yeah, it's the most efficient way to do it. Okay.
Dumbasses.
Welcome to Infusionsoft.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. So for us, guys, make sure to follow both of us on Facebook. Connect with us here. Connect with Gene. Connect with Dale. Dale, remind everybody of where to go to get all of your goodness, training materials and coaching.
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Smart Inside Sales. We have a fantastic Facebook group that you can join in the conversation and get some free info. You can reach me at dale@smartinsidesales.com. Plural, because we make more than one sale. Look at that.
Oh, I don't know about that. That sounds sketchy to me. You make more than one sale. All right. Let's see. So we've got a good objection to cover here. So Sarah Tremere, I believe, is watching live. Said I get the just browsing brush off a lot. I set them up as nurtures, but is there more that I could be doing? And Sarah, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming just browsing that tends to be your either she's following up on internet buyer leads, or these are people coming through open houses. So we can handle either one. But how would you handle that, Dale?
Yeah, great. Fantastic. What are you browsing for? Just get into the conversation with them. What are they
Okay.
looking for? Where do they want to be? Where do they live now? Are they renting or do they own? Do they need to sell that in order to move? Would they break their lease early? When, ideally, when would they like to be in their next place?
Mhm.
What if they don't do anything? Can they just stay where they're at now? What
Mm.
would that look like for them if they could get everything they wanted in the next place they lived in? Just relationship questions, right? Questions about what they're
Mhm.
doing, where they're going. Just, it doesn't matter. It's not an objection.
Yeah. Now, Greg, we've talked about this a little bit on the show before in terms of like how you physically handle your open houses. We dropped into an open house with one of our agents here in Santa Cruz not too long ago. And I wanted you to actually like physically demonstrate what you do when you host an open house, because that I think will prevent some of that getting the brush off as I'm just browsing, like as they're already walking up the stairs to the second level of the house that you're showing. So Greg, I'd love for you to cover just a little bit on how you physically meet people and kind of start the conversation so that you don't get
Okay.
that.
Well, I mean, one of the things I think a lot of us do when we're in real estate, either new or seasoned or getting back into the business, we're pumped up, we're excited, we're dressed up, we're at the Sunday open house, we're having people come through that we don't quite know how to handle everybody, so we over aggressively say hello to everybody, and that immediately pushes them back because now they're kind of watching their six a little bit, going, I'm not so sure about this human being. So what I do is I walk up to someone immediately and I'll have a flyer with me or something. I'll just say, hey, how are you? My name is Greg McDaniel. Hand them the flyer. Welcome to the open house. How'd you find us today? Was it from the signs, the internet, or did your agent send you? They answer it. So I know what my marketing is doing, either internet or signs or working better. Or if they have an agent, I'm kind and polite to them and I let them go on their way. And I don't even ask them any questions right up front. I just kind of say, well, you know what? Let me tell you a little bit about the house. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath. We're at 2211 square feet. We're on a third of an acre. You know what? The house is yours. Please go ahead and take a look through. But before you leave, I would love to get your opinion on what you guys think about that about that pool out back. It's pretty awesome. But anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. And then I'll block an area off. Like I'll just stand I'll just move myself strategically. So I'll block off like the hallway leading down to the bedrooms and just stand there like, the house is yours. And then just smile and they'll just be like, okay. They'll go a certain direction, and then I'll just happen to come around another way and just meet them. Like, oh, you're here again. Funny to see you in the house.
Like Greg, all 6'5", Greg just pops out from behind a pillar. Yeah.
And the mace comes out. Greg's like, I don't know why
exactly.
why do so many people bring mace to these things? It's so weird.
They've heard of the legendary. They've heard of the Sasquatch. They've heard of the McDaniel. It roams these open houses.
I got McDaniel.
Really.
Got McDanielized.
Like Mirandaized, but McDanielized. But then I'll bump into them somewhere and just start a one-off conversation. Like, so guys, tell me how long you've been looking, where have you been looking, seen anything you like, blah blah blah. Start just asking about their process, but make it feel very natural. Don't hit them up right off the bat. Like, so how you doing? You looking for a new house? This could be your home. Lucky day for you. Come on, look up. Come on. I'm gonna take you.
Well,
let's
again,
go see the backyard together. No.
Yeah, exactly. Again, this betrays the fundamental misunderstanding of what the purpose of an open house is, which is not to sell that house ever.
No,
it's just not.
No,
like, don't tell our
matter
clients
what the seller.
That.
Well, but that's not
don't
the point.
tell the
No, we should. We absolutely should. We absolutely should tell them. Like, look, the odds of you selling your home to a buyer that comes through that open house are about 3%. Now we're going to do it just like we do it with all of our other listings because. You know what I'm saying? Like if you do them, I didn't do them, right? So I just told my clients that like the odds of you selling your home in an open house are less than 3%. Like we put the money and the effort where 80% of the buyers are. That's the bottom line. So here's what we do instead of open houses, right? So that's fine. But Greg, you do open houses. You don't do them all the time, but you do some of them. So
You said doo-doo.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. You're like a giant 8-year-old.
Oh God, yeah. I'm never gonna grow up. Growing up is a trick. Never fall for that, Matt.
It's a trap. Don't do it.
It is a trap. It's a trap.
And Dale, I'm with you 100%. Do not tell your clients that it only sells 3% of the time, because that's not the point of it. The point is exposing it to the market, because you never know if a neighbor or a friend or a family member of a potential real buyer is cruising through on their behalf, and then they'll come back around and be able to look in and get something of value from you. Like, hey, I came through. I'm looking for my sister. She's moving from Madison, Wisconsin. Looked great. Could fit them. Please reach out and give her a call, or whatever else. What's your best number? I'll have her call you. So I'm with you, Dale, on that. I mean, in our neck of the woods, we don't say shit about how much it sells, because our sellers thinks that it's time for it to sell. And as Terry, the Grandmaster, has always said, you can't sell a loaf of bread if you don't put it on the counter, if you don't put it on the shelf. If you put it in the back storeroom, people can't buy what they don't know. So
that's such good advice.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the Grandmaster, Greg, we have some big news.
We do. Oh, by the way, guys, no fucking around. Seriously, I have the greatest parents on earth. My new Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8, the dream of the love of my life, broke down that bitch. My electrical system crapped out on me. Thank God I got the good warranty. But, dude, without even blinking an eye, my dad goes, "Oh, Greg, come on over. You can take my car." I don't need my car. I'm like, "No, Dad, I'll drive Mom's pickup." No, Greg, I wouldn't make you drive that car. My mom has eyelashes on the front of that pickup. Huge, like 7, 8 inch eyelashes on this truck. Demasculated the shit out of that truck. But my dad's like, no. He gave me his car. It was full of gas. He filled up all the tires. And in the while doing this, and this is the second time he's done this when I've had car problems in the last month, totally giving of himself. And then I said, Dad, would you like to come on the show and be more of a regular? He lit up like a Roman candle. Yeah, I would. But only if it's helpful for you. I'm like, don't be bashful. I know you, buddy.
That's right.
So he's gonna be a regular on the show, guys. So tune in for the Grandmaster. If you think I'm good, wait till you hear who I learned it all from. That guy's cray town.
That's right.
Nice.
We've got Ronnie Phillip watching. What is up, Ronnie? He always makes his presence known, as you guys all should. By when you join a live broadcast, what do? You hit the like and the heart button so people know that you're freaking there. That's what you do. And Ronnie shows you how to do it. So Ronnie is we're working behind the scenes on some cool stuff with him and with Wayne Salmons from Hero Nation. So there's some really, really cool stuff that's going to be coming out from those two guys. So let's dive back in, Dale. I've got a question for you on the appointment setting part of things. What are the couple of the reasons that we show up to an appointment where they're not really prepared to make a decision, or we flat out show up and they're not there, right? They don't make the appointment, right? That's the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like we show up and they're not home, or we have an appointment to call back and they don't answer, like that. Yeah. So let's talk about that. What makes people not show up for appointments?
First thing is that when you set an appointment with somebody, if that appointment is way more important to you than it is to them, they're likely not going to show up for it. Okay? Mm-hmm. So when you're a salesperson on the phone and you're trying to set this appointment and you're like, yeah, that's great, wonderful, we should get together, we should meet, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but can't we get together and can't we meet? And let's do it on Saturday, and they acquiesce to that and they agree to it. But it's got your DNA all over it, right? Your sticky fingerprints all over them, right? They just got manhandled by you and they agreed to that appointment, but we don't know. Or woman handled. I mean, it's, equal opportunity. But you don't get from them why it's important to them, what they're going to learn, what they're going to gain from it, and get them to speak that commitment, then they probably don't really have that much of a commitment to begin with. And then if you get to an appointment where somebody is not prepared to review contracts or not prepared to sign with you, it's because you didn't make them aware that might happen before you get there, right? You just you're like, oh yeah, I'll just take like 10 minutes of your time. I'll come by and tell you how great we are and how great you are and what we can get for you. And then you show up and you're like, contracts, sign and make decisions. They're gonna be like, whoa, what happened here? I thought we were having tea and crumpets, and then all of a sudden you're like, you want commitment. I don't understand here.
So you want to get married on the first date?
Yeah, like we just met at your house. I'm not getting naked this first date. Let's take it slow.
Well, you never know. It could be a fun first date.
All right, Greg.
So yeah.
Okay, so Dale, so how do you set that appointment up So if you are expecting to close them or have them make a decision on that appointment, right? And that's really what it's about. You just want a decision, right? If you show up to that appointment and you're expecting them to make a decision, in other words, they have to agree. It has to be just as important to them that they make that decision as it is to you. So how do you set up the context for that so that they understand that and they understand that you're coming over to help them make a great decision?
Okay. So first, we want to make sure that the appointment is important to them. So like we were talking about earlier, I want to understand what matters to you, what is important to you, before I just try to layer on an appointment on top of you, before I just try to get you to agree to meet. What I need to do is figure out what's important to you, and then make the logical connection between what's important to you and us having an appointment to discuss it or review it, or for you to gain that knowledge, right? So that's an important part. Then once we've set the appointment, I want to ask you something like, okay, so what's the most important thing you want to learn when we see each other on Wednesday?
Okay.
What's the most critical thing you want to take from our appointment when we get together? And then also we can ask some questions like, what things could get in the way of you actually being able to make it on Wednesday? Right? Okay. Especially when you have like a spouse or some other decision maker who's not on the phone with you. Ask, what does your husband think about this? So how's your husband going to feel about taking his Saturday afternoon to come meet with a strange salesperson, right? I think he's going to say when you propose that to him. Yeah, right? What's going to happen? What's he going to say about that? So you can pre-frame this person to deal with any resistance that's going to come up before that appointment happens. Because the truth is, like, what we're asking people to do is take time out of their busy lives to sit with a salesperson. And no matter how much, we try to behave like we're not salespeople or act, think we're not, that's what we are in these people's minds. And they think that we're going to try to get them, rightfully so, to make some decision or sign some paperwork or something, right? That's what they're afraid of. So if we can reduce that, first of all, we reduce that fear, help them understand and process that. Then once we've got them committed, we understand that they're tied in and they're ready to do this. Then we ask those questions where it's like, okay, great. When I get in front of you, we're going to discuss how I can help you as a real estate agent. And if things sound good and we work together well, I'll be willing to make a commitment to you, and I'll ask for you to make a commitment to me. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's an important thing.
Really good.
It's important to ask that in reverse as well. Like, you make a commitment to me, I make a commitment to you. So is that just like getting married? Do you? Yes. Same thing. Can't be like, do you say yes? Yes. The other person is just mute. And you're like, great, we have a great blissful marriage, and she's gonna hit the crapper immediately because only one person agreed to this whole agreement. And I like that.
It's a great way to get married. Goodness.
No wonder half the marriages in California fail. That could be a problem.
Right. Michael Higdon, what is up? Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being here. Michael's a past guest of the show and a great agent out in Louisville. And then we've got a quick follow-up question. This is from Colleen. It says, what do you say to a FSBO who tells you that the reason they're selling it themselves is because real estate agents do nothing but write an offer and don't deserve the commission?
I would agree with them. I'd agree with them. That happens all the time.
I love it. Yeah.
That's so frustrating.
Meet them where they're at first.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen, you're right. No matter what dumb thing comes out of your mouth, you're right when I'm talking to you. It doesn't matter what you say. Right? You're absolutely right.
No matter what dumb thing comes out of my mouth, I'm right when I'm talking to Dale. Great. This bodes well for all of our future conversations. I'm just gonna keep that in mind. Just gonna write that down in my little notebook. Okay.
Yeah. Because listen, people don't say things with the intention that they think they're wrong. Okay. They say things because they think they're right.
Greg often says things that are wrong, but he clearly does not believe that they're wrong. I got you.
Yeah,
blow me.
You're not.
All right, blow me, Johnson.
Blow me, Johnson. That sounds like a pirate name or something.
That's a pirate name. Blow me. Blow me, Johnson.
Blow me, Johnson.
Very piratey. Yeah. All right.
So anyway, people think they're right. Let them be right. Okay. Because, especially as a stranger, when we're on the phone with somebody, do you really think that we have the rapport or the know, like, and trust to tell them that they're wrong and get them to believe us?
No, not on the cold call with the FSBO.
No. Not usually, right? So just go with it. Say, yeah, that's really frustrating. you're right. There are a lot of hack agents out there, and frankly, my job would be a lot easier without them.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go after what
Bam.
what this guy really wants, right?
Right.
He's when any objection is this lead telling you what they want and something they want to achieve, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if I were to interpret that, what he's saying is, I want to make sure this house gets sold, and I don't want to waste my time with a bunch of idiots who aren't actually going to get it done and waste a bunch of money on things that aren't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I hope people actually just heard what you said. Say that again. I love that. Every objection is a need that they're trying to get solved. Is that the right verbiage? Am I saying that right again?
It's actually, so every objection uncovers for you what it really is that this lead is demonstrating to you that they have something they want to achieve.
That is beautiful.
Thank you. Even if it's doing nothing. Even if it's procrastinating.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes that is what they want, yeah.
Yeah, they want to procrastinate. They don't want to make a decision. That's what they're telling you, right?
But the stroke of genius in this is the fact that, again, it's like going for no. Once you get an objection, bam, now you have everything you need to work with to get them on your side. They just gave you the secret answer to getting that listing or helping them with a solution. I mean, that's awesome, man. That is awesome.
I was going to say, the worst objection is the one you don't hear.
I did. I'll send you my invoice, by the way, after this for that session.
Thank you.
That was great. No, that is brilliant. I love it. It's so every objection reveals a need, something that they're wanting to achieve. In other words, a result. Right.
Yes, a result. Now, that result can be avoidance of pain. It can be confidence. It can be security. It can be maintaining relationships. It can be procrastination. It can be avoiding making decisions. It can be sake of ease. Whatever it is, but that objection conveys to you something they're trying to achieve.
Wow. I mean, guys, not to be weird, but I always am. But I mean, this could be in your personal life. It can be in your professional life. I mean, if your girlfriend or boyfriend or significant other is bitching you about something, that is an objection they're coming at you about. So there's your problem. Now you know how to solve it.
Yeah, this works for kids, significant others.
My girlfriend problems. Okay.
This works for people at the water department. Works everywhere.
All right. Well, Gene, we gotta dial things down a little bit. I think we have time for maybe one more question, but in the meantime, Gene has to bounce. He's got to roll out of here. So I know it's very sad. I know, but he has many trainings. He has many trainings to prepare for, to help people get exposed. Hashtag get exposed.
Listen, it's not. Thank you for that. It's not that glamorous. I got to pick up the kids.
Oh, and every woman in the audience goes, "Oh," and all the guys said,
"That means one of two things." Listen, that means one of two things. Either I'm very good at what I do, or I'm unemployed.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to go with option one, please.
I'm either wildly successful or wildly unsuccessful.
That's right. It's definitely a rich man, poor man. Oh yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. All right. So Gene, how do people reach you and learn more about you?
GeneVolpe.com. There it is.
Nice.
And just to clarify, for anybody that doesn't know, it's about getting you more exposure, and that leads directly to actual leads and to actual clients. So that is Gene's specialty. He's got a couple of different packages that work great for real estate. If you're watching this show, and we have a lot of people watching, whether it's live or not, but people that are outside the industry. So if you are outside the industry, if you're in some other sort of sales or entrepreneurship, get a hold of Gene, because real estate is only one of the many verticals where he is a ninja bald master at. So with that, we bid you adieu.
Wait,
that was awesome. Yes.
Do you want a jingle made for you? Because I talked with a guy, Tony, and his wife yesterday, and they're musicians. They have all kinds of stuff. They love to write stuff. Do you want them to potentially write you a jingle?
Yes.
I'm connecting them. I'm connecting them with you.
What kind of question is that? Of course I do.
Please let me get into the studio and record like 7-part harmony on that .com.
Yeah, let's do that. I love it.
I'm thinking more of like a hip hop angle. You jingling, baby.
Okay. Yo,
yeah,
bring it.
Exactly.
Bring it. Whatever you got, send it my way. I'll use it if it's good. That's awesome.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Have a
we'll
great
see you on
weekend.
the show next Friday. All right.
DJ.
Michael Michael Higdon has a good comment. I love this. He says, "Is a beard required now to come on the show?" Just asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend.
Hey, listen, don't be ashamed of your naked face. It's okay.
That's right. Fear the beard.
Face.
That's what I have to say about that. Okay, so let's see. John Mercury says, a boss of mine at a summer job while I was in college once said that anytime a client complains, never admit fault, but rather sell them something to solve their problem. Worked every freaking time. That is the ultimate go for no. I love it. Like, oh, we screwed up your burger. Sounds like you really need to upgrade to a chicken sandwich. I really feel strongly that to accomplish the result that you're looking for, a chicken sandwich would be much more up your alley. Let's get that on the docket.
That's funny.
Oh, that is funny.
That is funny. Oh my God. Okay, so we've gone through FSBOs a little bit. Let's talk about breaking into a higher market. Greg, especially, let's start with you first on this one. Lena Koval says, hey guys, I really want to break into a higher end market. I'm already door knocking there daily. I'm consistently previewing homes in the area. What steps should I take, or what else would you recommend doing besides door knocking to help me break into their market and become the agent of choice? We don't have too long to spend on this because I know there's a lot of potential answers.
Wow.
So let's just give maybe 1 to 2 tips from each of us on how to break into higher markets.
I'm going to give 5 to 10. Thank you very much. So this is what I would say on that.
Oh, Dale, the show's over for us, so we might as well leave. I mean,
Oh, yes.
I mean,
There's no Dale in this.
No, exactly.
Okay, here we go.
Quiet on set.
Guys, anyone who knows us off air, we fuck with each other just as much off air as we do on air.
Yes, possibly
all
more.
3 of us do. Oh yeah, possibly more. So this is what I would do to break into a luxury marketplace. Look, don't treat them any differently than you would treat your current marketplace. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They take a dump every day. There's nothing special about these people. But the thing is that you need to hit them where their eyeballs are. And majority of the time, the eyeballs are going to be planted to their smartphones. So start doing videos. Go to neighborhoodscout.com. Go to realtytimes.com. Get information and make information-based, marketing pieces that are content-oriented about the hyper-local neighborhoods that you want to hit. Go to Realty Times and you can talk about buying or selling, advice for people, new homes, rentals, mortgage rates, all kinds of different things in the consumer advice drop-down. You can do 6 videos a week there because they have 6 different content portals. Go to Neighborhood Scout, and you can type in your zip code. If you type in an address, you're going to have to pay for it, but you type in your zip code, it's free. It's going to come out with an outline of the zip code, and then they have micro markets within that master market. Click on one of them, and then they're going to give an overview on the real estate. Then they're probably going to talk about notable and unique people and places. They're going to talk about ethnicity, ancestry, modes of transportation, occupation, and a couple of other parts. We can make hyper-local videos about a marketplace that no one else is putting out there. You can go interview people of influence in the neighborhood so that, if they go to the ball with the mayor and you go interview the mayor and it's out on Facebook, or the chief of police, or the principals of schools, or, local celebrities or business owners, if you're interviewing the people that they, run with, they're going to think of you because now you're one of them. So that's just an overview on some ideas.
Okay, I have a perfect angle for this for you, Dale. So as you go up into the higher end markets, based on Greg, especially like the people that are in your market. Now, this is not universally true, but as you go into higher markets, Greg, you're working with many, many, many more entrepreneurs, business owners, VPs of companies, executive directors, very successful salespeople, doctors, yada, yada. Much, much, much more higher occurrence of high D personalities as you go up that rung into higher markets. So there was something interesting, Dale, that Greg Harrelson said on the podcast a few days ago on Level Up. He said that he has his agents, when they're going through like the script certification process in order to be able to call his leads, he has them record the scripts much, much faster than they would deliver them to an actual human being. And over and over and over again, just record them and speed them up. That's one of the things we've noticed, like when we speak in public and even sometimes here on the podcast, like we talk way too fast sometimes for the average agent. And I'm not going to stop. We will not change. But how do you feel about helping agents who they feel like they can't quite keep up? They run into that high D personality on the phone, and that high D personality just bam, just steamrolls right over them. Would delivering your scripts faster, would that help alleviate that problem?
No. What I work with my clients when they are not high Ds and they struggle with high Ds, what I say is, listen, what is the essence of your question? What is the essence of your message? What do you really want to get to? It needs to be short and punchy, okay? So if really what you want to ask is, do you want to sell the house again? Would you consider listing with an agent again? Would you meet with us? Write those short, quick statements, right? So basically distill down what your script is trying to do, because if you get on the phone with a D, you better get rid of that damn script, and you better just give them the essence of what the message is, right?
Yeah. So true.
It's good.
Right? Don't try to pack more words than they don't want to hear anyway and do it faster. Just get to the meat of it.
Yeah.
I tell Matt that all the time. Like, Matt, just get to the freaking point, dude. I don't need to hear the whole long backstory.
That's exactly how it goes. Yeah, Greg is definitely the one that I'm calling up at 2 a.m. with a business idea, and Greg's like, just give me the facts. Just skip to it and give me the facts. That's anybody that watches the show knows that's the total. That's funny.
So for my people to practice that, just take your script, make it short and punchy, figure out what the essence of it is, and then just practice doing it. Okay? And being slightly confrontational. Role play that with somebody quickly. Then when you get that person on the phone, you'll be able to punch out those questions and ask them quickly or answer them quickly.
Yeah, agreed. I've gone through the same thing in training my staff on how to do guest booking calls for podcasts, and they have to go through the exact same process. So if you have like a high SC, someone who's an operations person, and they're doing setup calls to someone who's a freaking entrepreneur, speaker, consultant, they're traveling, they're in a million different directions. Like, you have to teach them to just say like, hey, this is what the content is. What would you like to talk about? Great. When would you like to, what's a good day for you to record? Great. Like, it just, like, you have to cut out all the fluff and just bam. Yeah, I love it.
So like, I'm a high D. I can't fluff it up. I am the worst fluffer ever, right? So I just can't seem.
Pride in a tail.
I can't be a Greg McDaniel. Greg McDaniel is an excellent fluffer. I mean, you just can't fluff all day.
Well, I got a second career opportunity in the adult entertainment business, apparently.
Oh my God!
What are you talking about? That's not what I was saying.
It's quote number 2 from the show. Greg McDaniel is an excellent fluffer. Dale Archdekin.
God, that's going to go epically, viral. Thank you very much. Okay, so Tommy has another question. I think it's a really good question. So what do you do after the kiss of death of when a seller or FSBO or someone says, "I'll give you 3% if you bring a buyer"? And so give him some. He's looking for something that's not salesy, no bullshit. What's a hard-hitting potential script that they can combat that comment of death or kiss of death when it comes to, hey, just bring a buyer for me? How would you handle that, Dale?
First of all, that's not the kiss of death. Thank them. They just offer to pay you. There's nothing wrong with that. You're making progress.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. Just look at it the right way around. So say, great, that's fantastic, and get more into how they're going to go about selling this. What's their process, right? What are they trying to achieve? You want us to bring a buyer? Fantastic. So how are you going to go about getting buyers? Are you going to just wait for agents like myself to call you up and make that same offer to them, or are you doing something more proactive? I'm just asking the questions here. That's all I'm asking. So it's not the kiss of death, man. It's progress.
I think a lot of people look at things only one dimension instead of multi-dimensions, because they say, like Tommy would say, by the way, he loves your answer. But when people say, he got, good answer. But the thing is like, it's so true. Like, what do you do when they say, just bring me a buyer? You're like, fuck yeah, dude. You just said you're going to pay me? Rock on. Most people are like, oh, I didn't get the listing, dang it. You're going to take your tail, tuck between your legs, and limp out the front door. When in reality, go 180 degrees on it and think about it, and tell me if I'm wrong, Dale, not you, Johnson, because I know what you think about me, and I don't want that to be public knowledge. Dale's my friend. Dale's like, winning. What would be an opportunity to think of 180 degree differences on everything you come in contact with? So instead of going, oh, I didn't get the listing, now you're like, oh my God, this is a pocket listing that you can now market out there. Maybe ask them, you know what, I have no problem doing that. Would you mind if I marketed your home as an off-market property so I can bring you that buyer?
Yeah. What I like to tell people is, what I hear so often when I'm listening to salespeople's calls is that salesperson, when they're on the phone with somebody, they are totally in their own head. They're thinking like, what do I want? What do I need? Am I going to get this appointment? How do I convert this person? How do I argue with this person? What do I say to them to convince them to come to the office? Like me, right? So it becomes really hard to see the opportunities when they present themselves. So, and Greg's dying. So
I'm reading these comments. Money shot, fluffer, hashtag money shot, hashtag fluffer. I'm like, oh my God.
That's funny.
Oh man. Oh
so
my
instead,
God.
if the salesperson can focus on that person that they're on the phone with, what do you need? What is what's the problem you have? What could really help you in your life? What would be a solution for you? What aren't you seeing? What solution aren't you seeing, right? To get what you want better, cheaper, faster, easier. If you can focus out there, then all of a sudden the opportunities are just obvious, right? The ways of looking at it.
Yeah, it really is. That's something that I know my father's taught me. You know, he would hear something, but he would hear it differently than I would hear it when I first started in the business. He always saw everything as an opportunity. When he started door knocking in the snow, he saw it as an opportunity, not because, you know, it was the only way he could do it. It's because no one else was out there. He was he was in blue water hunting. There was no one else doing it because everyone bitched out or took the easy road. So when, you know, I love that, you know, flip everything in your life 180 degrees and look at it from reverse and be like, how can I leverage this to better myself, my position, my family, my career, my relationship, whatever it is? You know, if your girlfriend's yelling at you, okay, I fucked up. Where did I fuck up? Oh, right there. Found the problem. Let's fix it. You know, I'll change. And I think being vulnerable.
I can supply you with a list of fuck ups, Greg, if you'd like me to.
Did you just say fuck up? I'm so proud of you, Matt. Look at those. Who took the training wheels off you?
That's funny.
Yeah, but you're right.
You know
what? What's that?
He has a running tab on you, is what I heard, Greg.
No. Which any good business partnership knows you don't keep score. So one of the things that drove this point home for me, and then we got to wrap up the show. We got to put a nice little bow on this one. Is this? So if you read "Outwitting the Devil" by Napoleon Hill, he talks about the flip side of this, right? Which is that within every success, there is the seed of an equivalent or greater failure, right? And when you wrap your head around that, you're like, oh my God, that's true, right? So in this kind of semi-fictional interview with the devil, he goes through in terms of how he still gets people even once they succeed. And he's like, well, how do you do that? It's like, because within every success is the seeds of their next failure. And that like freaking hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, okay, number one, that's true. And number two, now I get it. Right? The whole thing about, well, the seeds of your next success are within your failure. I always took that as just a nice motivational saying or just a positive lens to look at the world through that was just empowering, even though it may not be true. That's all 100% true, right? Because it's the flip side is also 100% true. Just as much as you should look at everything as an opportunity, every opportunity also contains with the seeds of your next failure. Right. So when we go through like the f-stops that we've been working with our, the inner circle guys of our mastermind, we've been going through and looking at past successes in addition to failures, as well as what's going on in their life right now, and looking at, okay, even once you succeed, there is still a threat. What's the threat? Okay, well, the threat is I won't be able to maintain it, right? Or I'll do this, or that success will lead to this over here. And so it's interesting to think of it that way. And it helped me. It really drove the point home that you can choose to look at it as an opportunity, because it literally is true. Within every failure is the seed of your next success. It's a gift and you have to find it.
That's really good.
Great. I'm going to have to get that book. I've never heard of it.
Oh my God.
So, dude, it's amazing.
Unreal.
Napoleon Hill, same guy that wrote Think and Grow Rich. The book was not published for 80 years, like after his death. This came out in 2011. It is the most incredible book. It's better than Think and Grow Rich.
Way better. Wow. It's scary. It's scary how good it is. And guys, mindset. One of our coaches and good friends that's on the show, Hank, recommended. Matt, I'm not sure if you got your book yet, but The Prosperous Coach. I just put the link into the show here, guys. It's called The Prosperous Coach. It's a fucking amazing book, and it can help change your mindset on your value add to any situation. And it was blowing my mind when I was driving home last night from hanging out with Lily, that like the stuff that they talk about and the way you view yourself when it comes to FSBOs or anything else out there, or typical listing presentation, it was changing my mindset as I was listening and driving. So even if you don't want to be a coach, read this book. I don't know, I have 3 hours and 8 minutes left, and I think it's a 4-hour book, so I got a long ways to go. But I'm going to buy the book hard copy, and I'm going to sit down and highlight and underline, because there's so much value in here. It's gonna blow your mind in regards to what you bring to every situation, personal or professional. So just take a look at it. These are 2 amazing books. But awesome. Matt, you've talked over our limit, and so we must move forward.
Speaking of delivering value, Dale, what's the website for you again?
It's smartinsidesales.com.
Perfect.
And again, find me. You can find us on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook group is Smart Inside Sales. We have a page and a group that is available for any real estate agent to join.
Perfect.
Put the link
all right, guys.
in
And then Vic asked again, what's the name of the Napoleon Hill book? It's Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil.
Can I give something that I was going to give one book real quick that will help people in their conversations with other people and prospecting and objection handling and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It is a parenting book. It's called How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen and Listen So Your Kids Will Talk.
Wait, say it again?
How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen and Listen So Your Kids Will Talk.
Huh.
Listen, adults are just big, sophisticated kids with big words. I've figured that out.
That explains a lot about my life.
Yes. So this parenting book will help you know how to talk to people and how to listen to people, so they'll actually tell you what the hell's going on.
A really good thing right there. So, all right, guys. Go follow, like, share everything else on Facebook. Follow me, follow Matt. Subscribe to everything that we do. Subscribe to everything that Dale does. I put the link in for his group on Facebook into the chat here. If you guys are listening to iTunes or Stitcher, just look up Dale Archdekin, and I think I said that right.
Archdekin.
Archdekin. Oh, that's close.
Close.
I just one syllable off. But so close it failed. But guys, hey, if you like this, share this with your broker, share this with a friend. We want to help other people in this business. We all have a heart of giving. That's why this show was created, to give back to our community, to people who need a little bit of a kick in the pants, who need a little bit of an encouragement. You guys just keep following us and sharing us. We love you. That's why we do it. So until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.